We don't use headphones in our podcast, but we should get some studio. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Coaching Life podcast. My bad, I was talking over the music. Yes. Talking over the intro. My bad. So we were explaining that now that we don't use headphones for our podcast, it's hard to hear the music because we don't have our headphones on. So we need to get some studio. Mount some studio, like some JBLs in here or something like that. Get that, some studio. So hey,
director that's going to do it. Our student director that's going to do it.
Yeah, the producer, the podcast producer.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is the Coaching Life podcast, episode number 179.
This is the first, I think.
179.
This is the first time we've had a guest in studio on camera.
Yeah.
We had Cammie Seymour on camera.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, sorry. First of all, this is Brooks McKeller. We'll get back to you, Brooks.
It's okay. This is how this normally works.
Now that we are on camera, people can see that third guy, and so they're like, "Wait a minute, are they just going to talk amongst each other and then leave this guy hanging? Who is this dude?" Well, we'll get back to Brooks, but when we first started doing the camera,
I remember
Cammie
being in. I didn't know if
she's a writer for the Post, like she's a journalism student.
Yep.
And she wanted to do an interview with Pat and I on our podcast and do a story. So like on the last year, one of the issues in the Post had a story about the Coaching Life podcast. Cool. And
so I guess we were her ghost or her guest.
So we were, that's how we set it up. We said, why don't we have you on the podcast and you can interview us on our podcast. And so she interviewed us. She sat right there and we did. That was the first time we set up 3 cameras, I think. Yeah. So anyway. Yes. Cool. Yeah. And
thanks
now
for joining us,
Cammie's actually in my podcast class this semester.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Good deal.
Yeah. Brooks might take the class next year, next semester. So
I hear he's a hard grade.
So that's not true. That's not true at all. So we have a guest today, and it's my good friend Brooks McKeller. He's soon to be Pat's good friend too, because every time we sit here for an hour and talk, it's easy to find that camaraderie, especially over some of the commonality that we have in a number of things. But Brooks is a senior on the Ohio University golf team, and we're going to let him talk about his experience there. And Brooks is also, while he's here at Ohio University, he's a member of my church, and so that's a cool connection. He also is a member of the Athletes in Action ministry here, and we have a lot of interaction there. And recently married. He's a recent husband.
Yep. And
actually married to one of the star volleyball players here at Ohio University, Charity. And so you got to give a hello to Charity.
Charity,
a future guest of ours.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
good network.
I ran into these guys yesterday in Starbucks. That's how we actually got Brooks today.
Well, we'd been talking about it already. We wanted to, and it just times didn't line up, and it just worked. It just worked. I said, all right, come on.
I don't even remember what it said something about you said you were talking about the podcast class.
Yeah,
you're asking about
because I was
class.
asking because I needed next spring. All I need is I need a random 3-hour class. Like it can be anything. And I was like, I know, he's in the office over there. I was like, I wonder if he teaches anything. And I'd ask podcasts. I was like, speaking of podcasts, it's like I need to get on there.
Speaking of podcasts, and I'm like, well, we just happen to be recording tomorrow.
There you
Why don't you come in? And you happen to be free. Just got your lift in.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
I'm glad golf for the lift.
Yeah, come back to that.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm glad you asked because I thought we were going to have another guest, but our schedules didn't line up, so it didn't work out. So I'm glad we have you on, Brooks.
That's right. We have had someone from the women's golf team in last year. I don't know how many. Do you guys even have any interaction with the women's golf team?
The women's team won a tournament yesterday.
I saw that. They took a picture right out here on the steps.
Cool. Yeah. We have the new indoor facility that just got built. Yeah. So it's all done and stuff. So sometimes you'll see them out there, but usually practice-wise, if we're on the course, they go off either an hour early or an hour after us. So it's just depends on who goes off first. So,
yeah.
And we play different tournaments.
Right. Well, Morgan Rogers is she was a freshman last year,
cool.
And she was in my podcasting class, and she stopped and chatted with me after one of the classes one day. and she had some interest in starting a podcast of her own.
Nice.
And she was telling me about some of the mental strategies that she utilizes in the game of golf. And it was really good. Actually, it was a great episode. So
cool.
Yeah, so you got a lot to live up to here.
Yeah. I'm the second one on. Here we go.
The second golfer. Yeah. So cool. So I'll tell you what, I don't have, like, I didn't write up an intro about you, right?
Yeah.
Like your background and where you're from. Like, we know, like, people don't know until you tell them. But I know you're from Alabama. You're an avid golfer in high school. I know you're a championship golfer in high school. So tell us a little bit about your background and in the sport of golf and what brought you here to Ohio University.
For sure. So, kind of growing up, my dad, he's a football coach. So, very early on was, pressed to play football. His dad was a football coach. So, and you kind of having that name, it's just like, it's football son, he's going to play football and stuff. And, I did it. I played basketball, baseball and stuff. And I kind of got into golf, a little, I would say, a lot later than, many. A lot of people start golf very young. And I think I started when I was probably like 13. And my dad, he had a fundraiser golf tournament that he was putting on for their
football
team.
coaches do that.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, we don't have a fourth guy for our scramble. And I was like, I'll come, I was a 13-year-old. I'll just come and hit a ball. And so Dad had found some old clubs, took a hacksaw, cut them down, put some electric tape around it, and said, here you go, here's your driver.
Dude, that's an awesome story.
Yeah, and so we went out there, and for some weird reason, I was just connecting. I was like, man, this is kind of fun. I was like, I'm not getting, run over by linebackers and hit by baseballs. I'm actually having, a pretty good time here. So I kind of, after that, I was
You're the only one that has a good time.
Yeah.
That was like destiny or something.
Exactly, right. So I started asking Dad, I was like, man, I want to get better at this sport. And also I was very small. 9th grade year, little fast forward, I was like 5'2". And,
gotcha. Wow.
Yeah, so I hit a big growth spurt.
Yeah,
I know, yeah.
What are you now?
6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of grew up a little bit. But like through high school, I was a small guy. So football was like kind of out of the books for me, unless I was just like some fast running back, which I wasn't. And so I can remember like sophomore year finally kind of coming to Dad and hey, I would really like to play something in college. I want to, my dad played quarterback in college, and his dad played wide receiver, and I was like, he knew nothing about golf. If I came home with a complaint, it was like, work harder. He's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Suck it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's advantageous to have parents.
So I was like,
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah. But honestly, I kind of got to give him some credit because that's what I did. I just worked harder, and I loved doing that. And so we paused everything else, and starting after that year, throughout high school, junior, senior year, I was just focused on golf. Like golf, the rest of the whole entire time, and got pretty good. Started winning some tournaments, and I was like, all right, this is definitely what I need to focus on. And started getting some attention, at colleges and stuff. And it was, I think every offer I had was south of Tennessee. So I kind of knew where I was going. I was like, I kind of sought out some places, was ready to go ahead and commit somewhere. And late in the game, which golf's weird, so you usually commit like junior year, summer. It's earlier than most.
Right.
And so I late in the game got a call from the coach who was here at Ohio. We have a new coach now, but called me and was like, I know you don't know me, but I know you. And I used to coach at Jacksonville State, and he's like, I want to talk to you about Ohio University. And I knew nothing about it. I was like, and this was COVID, so every visit I had set up was canceled. I had like 6 visits set up. They all got canceled because of COVID, and the NCAA wouldn't let you go.
Yep.
So he got me on a FaceTime call and just drove me around campus. And I got off the phone, I looked at Mom and Dad, and I was like, gosh, I don't know. And they were like, yeah, it's pretty far away. And at this time, we were living in North Alabama, so it was only like 7 hours, which now, that we just actually moved to the beach this past summer. My dad,
what a shame.
Yeah, I know, right? Terrible. But no, it is 13 hours now. So,
wow.
Yeah. But, I had a lot of prayer about it, and just kind of everything lined up really good, and felt positive about it, felt that God was calling me there, which is crazy. A lot of people, my friends.
Here. Calling you here.
Yeah, Ohio. And a lot of my friends and family, they were like, man, what are you doing? This is, you need to stay kind of close to fam. And, hit the road. Dad said, "I'll buy you a sweatshirt," and that was it. So,
well, man, it's hard to define what you're doing moving forward. It always is, right? Like you can't answer that question to your buddies a lot of times because it's like, well, I'm not even sure. But then, so now you've been here for 3 years.
It's my senior year.
So this is your 4th year.
This is my last.
Yeah, you've completed 3.
Yeah.
So, looking back, how easy is it to define? Oh, this is exactly what God had me here for.
Well, right? This is the funny thing is like coming out of high school, it's like you almost. And especially an athlete, it's like you're ready. Like when you get to college to play athletics, you're like, oh, I'm about to hit the ground running. Let's go. We're about to number one man. Here we go. Win a bunch of tournaments, shoot a bunch of low numbers, and this is it. This is how college looks like. And it's complete opposite. You get there and you're like, the first tournament I ever even played in, I was with a guy who was 25 with 2 kids, and I was 18. I graduated high school. I was 17.
Wow. Well, yeah, there's a big gap.
Yeah. I was like, whoa,
I was 17,
welcome to the real world, because these, I've been playing with high schoolers, and then you get to this. And also just, his plan is so much different. God's plan is so much different than what I had thought, and I thought, like, if you would have asked me if I got married in college, I would have said you're out of your mind. I just said, I don't have time for that. I'm not looking for that or anything. And, it wasn't what I had thought, but like I said, it just got lined up perfect, and golf's kind of become my vessel, and like even for Charity, my wife, it's volleyball was going to become her vessel to preach, and it's different than athletics. It's different than just competing and stuff. It's kind of getting to college, realizing like you're kind of an adult now. You got to figure out stuff. So
that purpose question starts 100%. To grow a little deeper.
So interesting because I think normally when we have these conversations about younger folks deciding to go to college to play a certain sport and the difficulty and the challenge that comes along with that, and the phrase that normally comes out is it's a job
it is
to play that sport. But that's an interesting perspective that you're putting on it there, because you've added purpose to it. So it's that you say you're using it as a vessel, to do God's will, and that's even that's even further along than what we normally get to when we say, well, it's difficult because it's a job. You're talking about a higher calling.
It's a mission.
So than that,
in many ways.
And the cool thing is like when you're at a college, especially like this one, is so diverse and stuff. You're not only doing like a in-town kind of ministry. This is a worldly, because when they graduate, we have guys on the team from Colorado, Canada, Pittsburgh,
right?
People from everywhere. I mean, they got to go home after they graduate, and
they're going to be scattered out.
God willing, they keep pushing, fighting the good fight.
Listen, man, you're talking. You're talking to someone who planted a church in this area, and the majority of the people that come to our church, they're not going to be there in 4 years.
So different, right? You have something that's so unique. It's like exact. I thought about that too. I was talking to Charity. I was like, look, you don't realize like this church has different members every 4 years.
Pretty much.
Completely.
We have been really fortunate to keep Jake and Alyssa, right? Jake Netherton. But this is our last year with them, so I'm soaking up everything I can because he's doing his masters. He had the redshirt year. They went through that COVID year. So anyway, backing up.
Yep.
You were a senior in high school during the COVID year?
I was a junior,
because you committed your junior year. Yeah.
But
it's hard to believe we're that far.
Well, Colter Cleveland was the same. He was in the same situation, and talking about how you lost a lot of opportunity to talk to colleges about coming.
And it was so wild. I can even I remember we were sitting in class and they were like, all right, you're out of school for a week because of COVID. Then we never came back.
Because it was just 2 weeks to, flatten the curve?
Yeah, exactly. lessen the people positive, I guess.
Right.
But,
and to bring it back, Nathan Rourke had the same.
Nathan had it from a college to professional perspective. I felt so terrible for him because he had, we had actually just had Nate in here that year, and Nate got baptized. Oasis after an Oasis service, we went down to the Holiday Inn, or
that's awesome.
Yeah, Holiday Inn, I think, because we baptized him. Yeah, and he was. So we were pretty close, and so he told me all the things that he had lined up, and then for him, when COVID hit. like all of those NFL camps just started canceled, and he had a really great senior year. He had a really great year, and so now, then it was just everything was up in the air and nothing. And you guys, man, there's a lot of adversity there.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, like a lot of our guys, like I can remember in high school and stuff. Yeah, I mean, they were like, because they, maybe the timing didn't work out, and they just started getting good, like you said, and it wasn't enough time because they cut your season. And, like I think junior year we had like one golf tournament. I think. Or it was a senior year. I don't know whichever that COVID year was.
It would have been
we were
your
spring
senior
sport.
year.
Yeah, spring sport.
Spring sport.
Yeah, in Alabama spring.
How
it's fall.
So no, that would have been your junior year.
Yeah, junior year. Yeah,
interesting.
It's different up there or down there.
Yeah.
Huh. So okay. So it wasn't in conflict with football. Like you could have played football and golf. Because in my mind I was thinking, because I was going to ask.
Yeah,
you,
that's the thing.
Did your dad ever?
Yeah, no, he brought it up. Yeah, he said. I mean, because like senior year is when I finally got to be about like I don't know 5'11", and he was like probably throw you in slot.
And you live in Alabama, you got to play some football.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a culture down there. It really is. I mean, you got, Roll Tide, War Eagle. Which one are you?
We kind of understand. Ohio's pretty well the same. I mean, with that school in the middle of the state, tends to.
That was it though. When growing up, it was, are you an Alabama and Auburn fan?
So did you ever, sense? Like this is an interesting question for like our podcast, our podcast demographic, because a lot of people, like Pat and I both have coached our own kids, and it's a pleasure, like it's a blessing. Yeah. It's also can be a curse at times too, right? And not from, I guess from a dad and son standpoint as well as a coach and player standpoint, but also from an external standpoint as well, like the perception that people have of you as you coach your own kid.
Nothing worth having is easy to have. So there's always something that comes along.
I love it, and I would do it again and again and again. But did you ever sense any disappointment from your dad that you didn't play football? Like he was a football coach, and
so here's the thing:
sport that he loves, right?
I mean, he's still coaching to this day, and so. But I will say, so since we were bouncing around so much, like it was almost like school for 2 years, go to a different school. School 2 years, and that was just the way he did. And I know there's people who love to settle down and be in a place.
He was you guys were moving.
Oh, we were moving jobs all the time. Yeah, I mean, like I went to, I was telling somebody about this yesterday. I think I've been in like 17 houses.
Wow,
or 18 maybe. It's
okay. Let's back up a second.
So
football in Alabama must be a lot like high school football must be a lot like Texas.
Oh yeah.
Like was he getting paid a full-time salary to coach high school football?
It's football and he's a teacher.
Right. So it was a stipend.
It's a stipend. Yeah, there's pay. Yeah. I mean
because I know the stipend in Texas it's like $40,000, right? So,
Alabama's the same type of way. Yeah.
Like here in Ohio, if you're a pretty decent school getting a decent stipend, you might be getting $16,000, something like that.
Football coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Alabama's big.
Don't think that's what baseball coaches are getting.
So
we're paying for our own grass seed.
Yeah. So he would coach somewhere, and then he'd be like, either it just didn't work out, or he would rather go somewhere else. Another opportunity would arise, and he would go, and then he would go.
And you guys would literally move your family
every single time. Yeah. It was like NFL almost, but it was in Alabama.
Right.
And so like I went to middle school in a little town called Columbiana, and then I went to I moved away in 5th grade, came back to that middle school in 5th grade, and then 7th and 8th and 9th grade, I went to a little school just outside of, y'all won't know this, but it's Shelby County. But this little school was a 2A school, and my dad had been coaching at a bigger school for 7 years, so we were there for a while. But then he was like, I want to start at a smaller school and just kind of like feel more homey and probably settle down. Like we thought it was it. We're like, all right, we're just where we're gonna be at, And we get there, and this is when I first started getting into golf. And I was like, Dad, there's no golf team at this school. And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna start one. So he starts this golf team.
Oh, sweet.
Starts this golf team.
Good
the
for
second
him.
year we have it, our team goes to the state championship. Pretty crazy.
Your dad's a pretty darn good coach, isn't he?
Huh?
Your dad's a good coach.
Yeah, I mean he knew nothing about really golf, but he just knew, hey, I'm gonna get these guys over here.
He knew how to gather people. That's a great point.
And so we found it was me. It was a kid who was roping horses. It was our 2-man.
So what? Someone was roping horses?
Yeah, that was our 2-man on the golf team. This school was an old country school. Like, we were out in the middle of nowhere.
I think the confusion is with that roping horses thing.
Like, he was a horse roper. Like, that was his sport that he played.
In high school?
Yes. Like rodeo. That was a high school sport.
Sweet.
Yeah, but we were like, hey, man, he's got to be a good golfer. He's got good hand-eye coordination.
He just, like, rolled off his tongue. He was roping horses. I'm like, well, like, yeah, but, like... out in his on his
That's
farm.
What I thought.
Right?
I thought he meant he was working on a farm.
Exactly. Well, you know, I mean, he had a farm. He worked a farm.
That's an AHSAA sport. Alabama high school.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, you can be a state champion in that. So we had him, and then we also had the quarterback of that little school was our 3-man, and we had 4 guys on the golf team.
Yeah,
that was it. And the other guy was a golly, I don't even know it. He just old country boy, you know. I mean, I just kind of. His dad had golf clubs.
I feel like this is a movie script. You guys,
he's out there swinging a golf club with a big belt buckle.
Yeah, exactly.
His boots.
I mean, it's so we riled up this golf team, and we were like, you know, our first year was just kind of like understanding like what golf even was, and then like everybody that summer was like, let's just like try to get so good, and these kids were just
like it's that easy.
Well, they just had.
I say that every
let's
year,
get an idea.
Yeah, and they had nothing. I mean, it's a very small town. Really didn't have like a lot to look forward to. So I mean, that's what we did. We just played golf all day, and then that next year we went to the state championship, and I think we came in 3rd or something. But I mean, it was pretty cool. And then we moved again. So this is when I moved to I went to a really big high school my junior and senior year. It's called James Clemens. It's up in Madison, Alabama.
And that's where you ended up after this small school.
After the small school, yeah. We went up there. It's a 7A school. So Alabama's 1A through 7A. And
7A is the biggest?
7A is the biggest. Yep. So that school back there was a 2A. And
gotcha.
So we're at a 7A now, and they have a golf team. Like they, you know, and obviously it's a big school. And so I get there, and this is when I was like, all right, I'm going to focus on golf here. Like this is, you know, and there's a lot better tournaments to play at this school, but Dad was also, it's just football. That's just what he was doing, it's football, and I just kind of hung with him, you know. And so got up there and started winning a bunch of tournaments, you know, as an individual, and names started getting out there. And you know, if that would have happened at the smaller school, I don't really know if I would have got my name out there. You know, the golf team is still alive there at that other school. It's kind of good.
To this day?
Yeah, they're not that good or anything, I don't think, but I got to check back on that. But
yeah.
It is kind of cool though that we started a golf team
really
in school,
cool.
and
with a horse roper.
Yeah, and he actually did pretty good. Yeah, he
That's
did.
awesome.
Yeah. But then we got to this school, and it was there were some golfers. We had like 10 guys on the team, and one of them was Jack Mitchell. He plays at Alabama. I was telling you about this before we started, and he was a really good golfer. So yeah, I think that school was actually only 7 years old. So
the big
it was
one?
a newer school,
Yeah.
And then after I graduated, we moved to Florence, Alabama, which is where my twin sister Kate goes. She goes to the University of North Alabama, but he was coaching at Florence High School, which is also 7A, and that's when I went to college. And then while I was in college, we moved to he moved to Hoover High School, which is debatably one of the biggest schools in the South. They used to have an MTV show, and that was a whole different culture, though. I mean, like it was just, you know, a lot of kids.
Oh, so that's not where he's at now.
No, we just moved. So
moved again.
Yeah. So he was at Hoover this past 2 years, and this
as the head coach.
He's OC there.
Okay,
he was OC there. So
your mom's still in the house? Like your mom and dad's?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's an awesome woman, man.
Thankfully, yeah.
Yeah.
No, she told him though when we came to the beach, though, she said hit the brakes.
This is it.
Yeah,
I want to stay.
She's
here.
like, I'm done. She's like, I've got my umbrella. I'm going to the beach. She's like, you know, whatever happens. But no, yeah. I mean, I told him too. I was like, look, man. I said, you're 50-something years old. Come on now. I said, yeah. I mean,
now
still
that I've
thinks
hit
he's
the 50s, I'm like, hey,
I know.
That's not that,
saying,
I can move 5 or 6 more times. No,
I'd hate that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, you know, podcast about you, but it's your family too. It's your dad.
Yeah.
So did he ever have like all these moves were from high school to high school? Did he ever have any desire to go up, like to go to the next level?
There was opportunities, but
I know it's different.
Yeah, and there was opportunities, but believe it or not, some of the college positions that you can get don't pay as good.
Oh no, there's no.
I mean, when they were at Hoover, they had guys from University of Arkansas, University of Alabama. They just either wanted to get paid more or it's just better. You know, it's better to be there and win a bunch of games, and because you know, you say you coach at Hoover High School, you can kind of have a lot of options after that if you want to.
Yeah, we've talked about it on this podcast before too. The culture like a football, but football culture in high school is a whole lot different than football culture in college.
Oh yeah.
And like ask anybody that plays college football. It's like, like it's just like high school. It's that family. Yeah. We're all together. It's all brotherhood. We're all together. And here, like they don't even interact with the guys on the defensive side. If you're on the offensive side, I mean, everybody's got their own unit and everything. Yeah. I mean, it's one team obviously, and but especially, and I see that, like I see more of a camaraderie on OU's Division I team than you would like like Brock was at a D2 school, and I know like that the turnover on that roster, turnover among the coaches, everything. Those D2 schools, D3s, the smaller colleges, when they're playing on Saturday and when there's like 40 people in the stands, and they came from a high school where it was packed and everyone was wearing their school colors and tailgating the night before, and you got that it's different. It feels different. Yeah. Well, how is golf different in college from high school for you?
I would say in high school it was like there's still like those, like, I mean, Alabama it's kind of crazy. Alabama golf, it's really pretty powerhousey. Like, I mean, like we like when I was in high school, I used to play a lot with Nick Dunlap, who now he was at Alabama and he was a junior in Alabama, went and played in a PGA Tour tournament as an amateur and won it. And then he decided to not play in college anymore, and now he's on the PGA Tour and won again last month. And he was from Alabama, and same grade, just a grade below me. And then another kid who's really good is Gordon Sargent was there. We played in the same region as him, and he's at Vanderbilt right now. And I mean, just really, really good golfers. Played in a couple PGA Tour events. Played in the Masters.
Wow.
So
I see when you say that, and like
he's my age,
and you said like is it Nick?
Yeah.
That decided not to come back and play in college. Like just a few years ago, he wouldn't have even had the option after playing in the PGA tournament, right? Yeah. Like that. Like you got to declare I'm pro or I'm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So he wins the PGA. He wins the PGA Tour tournament. And, it's supposed to pay out a lot of money, and he's playing as an amateur. So he's like, okay, well, I can do this.
Right.
So there's an opportunity to, and when you win on the PGA Tour, you get your full status card. Like that's how PGA Tour is. You have to like play good to stay on.
Yeah.
And so if you win, I think it's exempt for, I think it's like 2 years or something. So he kind of had that opportunity. He's like, I needed,
Have you tried, or do you have any aspirations to?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like growing up, like high school, I was like, I want to play on the PGA Tour. Like if anybody asked me, there was no plan B. I want to go do that, and I want to have the ability to do that. And I feel like now, like the further I get into college, and it's not an ability thing. I think it's like the reason why. Like my reasons why in high school were because I wanted to go win tournaments and beat people.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if I ever have the opportunity to play on the PGA Tour or play any professional, I would just love to have that opportunity to be, have a seat where I could, talk about God, like right in front of everybody, because I mean, God's going to give you the platform you're supposed to be on, but if that ever was part of my plan, I think that would be the number one thing I'd be looking forward to, is not really so much the golf part. Obviously it takes a lot of very, very good golf to play on the PGA Tour. But yeah, I mean, I just think, now it's not so much of a thing of like, like, how do I put this? Like if PGA Tour happens, it's God willing. God wanted me to be there. God wants me to share the gospel there. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm not supposed to. But in high school, it was like nobody's telling me anything.
You're not devastated by it.
Yeah, I'm not devastated because
you're more concerned about what is God's plan for you, as opposed to this is my plan and I'm going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of times, even in college, like my freshman and sophomore year, I mean, and junior year, I mean, it's just like I feel like I'm, grinding, working hard as I possibly can. Staying until it's nighttime at the golf course and stuff, and I wouldn't like make it to a tournament lineup. I'd be like, wow, like there's no reason why I shouldn't be. I'm grinding as hard as I can and practicing hard, and doing the right things. Like, what's the reason why? And then I'd play in a tournament that I just didn't think there would be a reason why. Like, I'm not practicing as hard or something. And I think the more I understand, I'm like, maybe God wanted me to be in that one and not the other one, And like a lot of the times, I feel like just kind of maturing wise, like understanding that just like, kind of like we were talking about church last Sunday, like a predestination kind of thing is like God already has my plan out, and my plan was to get married. My plan was to come to Ohio. My plan was to, have a Bible study with my golf team, run AIA. Like, these are the plans that I had no idea. Coming into high school, I was like, All-American, national champion.
You know what's wild about that, though? And we're going to get into some heavy theology here, it sounds like. What's wild about that, though, is you made all those choices.
Yeah.
Like, even though this is the end, like, this is the ends, God, you are where you know that God wants you to be. He used you as the means to that ends.
Yep.
That's bizarre. I mean, it's bizarre. It's hard to imagine.
No, it is, yeah.
But
it's like still the same guy.
Because you weren't being dragged along.
No,
right? Like, no one made you come to Ohio. No one made you.
No.
I don't know how you met Charity, but like
exactly.
No one's like,
well,
hey,
it's through AIA. It's
Okay.
funny enough.
Yeah.
It's
like
like
a ministry.
If I don't go to AIA, probably don't get lucky. I'm kidding.
But you've had so like here at OU, I remember when you gave your testimony at Athletes in Action.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't mind, talk a little bit about, because you ran into some pretty extreme adversity.
Yeah. So
'cause your dream is to play and to be a champion.
Yeah. So testimony wise, like I said, like in high school, I don't think I was really focused on. I mean, if someone asked me if I was a Christian, I'd say, yeah, sure, I'm a Christian. I just think Jesus is a superhero, though. He's like a wishing well, and I was very wrong. I think in high school, we moved around so much, we didn't really have a church. There was no time to sit down and have a church and meet a pastor or anything. It was just like, hey, I heard there's an event over here with this one church, and Brooks, you should probably go to it. So I'd go to that and, not touch another Bible for a couple months. And, but I went, growing up, I went to Sunday school and, went to church a couple of times when we were settled down for those 7 years or whatever. But like I said, I think it was like a lot of my prayers were like when things was going wrong. It was like, hey, God, I need you to come and do this and all that. It was never when things were, going right. If I was winning tournaments and stuff, I was all me. And I think going into college, I didn't really know anything about this college. Like, honestly, I got here and I was like, I think I was going to get McDonald's one night and I couldn't drive down Court Street. And I was like, what the heck's going on? Is there like a party? And then I asked around and they were like, there's a party every night.
Yeah, you literally couldn't get down.
There's people walking around everywhere, and I realized then I was like, okay, this is a pretty big party school. I didn't know that, and I think understanding that that's what it is. There was a part of me where I could choose to be a part of that or choose not to be a part of that, and I think everybody when they get to this college, they see their friends going doing it, and you're like, you kind of have that thought. You're like, I wonder what's going on. I wonder. You wondered about these worldly things, and I can remember just kind of feeling lonely, and golf maybe not going my way, like getting beat out by seniors and not playing any tournaments and having a lot of time to myself, and wondering like what is purpose wise, like I feel like I'm grinding, like I said, practicing hard, not playing any tournaments, so I kind of had to find people who were going to lead me, I guess you would say. And so that's when I kind of came in touch with the AIA stuff. And I got really close with Curtis, who was here. Now he's in Indiana. Actually, the first thing I ever went to was a Bible study with him. I didn't go to AIA, the first one. It was a Bible study. It was Bryce Kittrell, Curtis, Christoph Atkinson, and I forget who else was there.
Was it in the football locker room?
It was on the football third floor. That's where we used to have it.
Okay.
And I got there.
Was there one that they held after practice?
Yeah, that's the one that. Yeah, the one they have is the locker. Yeah, and I can remember getting there and just feeling so like welcomed, and it was weird. It was like these guys don't even know me, and like they're like asking me questions and stuff, and I was like maybe this has something to it. Maybe there's more to God, And I can remember going to AIAs and stuff, and like really wanting more. I wanted more, really, and I was like, man, this is like good stuff. Like I'd have like Curtis calling me to come and hang out and stuff. I'm like, this is the quarterback of the school. It's pretty sweet, I mean,
I remember when I first met you. I think it was at. Did you just drop out, Pat?
Yeah.
Did you did we lose her? Saying reconnecting.
So,
okay.
I mean, we're still on. So hopefully Pat will come back to us.
Maybe it's because I haven't been saying anything. There I go. I'm
back.
He's back. I remember when I first met you, Brooks. I think it was at church.
Yeah.
I thought you were a football player.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
you're with football player, football player, football player. Oh, you football player? I play golf.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How did you get hooked up with these guys?
Yeah.
And that's how.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like, I can remember just like not being in my dorm a lot. I remember I'd always be hanging out with those guys. I was like, if I hang out with these guys, I was like, it's not that nothing can go wrong, because trust me, those guys are silly. But we would just hang out and like, just play Wii Sports on the TV or something. Yeah. Which is like, I mean, it's hanging out with the bros, not doing things that we probably shouldn't do. And like, we had some super deep convos that I'd never experienced in my life. I was like, this is what it's about. Like, this is what, like, good guys are about. Like, these are like some real men, and like I said, I mean, I've been around football guys my whole life. It's probably real easy for me.
Yeah, so you connected really well.
Yeah, I've been around it. And so sophomore year is when I was still in the dorms, but I was really getting into AIA now. So I was on the leadership team, and I had like kind of like gotten back into going to church a lot, and going when I could. I know we were busy and stuff, and I played in a few more tournaments that year, which was nice. Still kind of like lacking, I would say, some faith, but I can remember my coach calling me. We were supposed to host the MAC championship that year.
Right.
So every single year, a school in the MAC hosts the MAC championship for golf. And that year, you can host anywhere you want. And that year, we were hosting at Columbus Country Club up in Columbus. And my coach called me and was like, "Hey, man, I was talking to the pro at Columbus, and they had us wrong for the wrong year or something. Something happened where we couldn't do it." And he's like, "Do you know anywhere in the South we could go? Because April is still cold." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I got somebody." And where I went to high school at was our home course was called Canebrake Club. Okay, it was Canebrake Club, and it's the head pro out there, director of golf. His name's Mickey Wolf. Super, super great guy, faithful guy. His son Nolan actually plays at Samford down in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know if you guys know that school. And, but like one of the best guys I've ever been around my whole life. So I gave him a call. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And they've hosted college tournaments out there before, but never like a conference championship. He was like, "I'll see what I can do." And within the next 2 weeks, it was locked. We were like, "All right, we're going to Canebrake," which was awesome to me.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah. And which was cool to me, though, because not only is it my home course, I played it 500 times, it's my family. They could come see.
Yeah.
Because usually our tournaments is, we'll go down to South Carolina and North Carolina, and then we'll go to Michigan and Pittsburgh. It's like, I don't really know when they can see. And, I think out of my 4 years, my parents have seen me play a college golf tournament one time.
Wow.
This was it.
This one was in South Carolina, my sophomore year. My first freshman year. Freshman year is the first time they watched me play a golf tournament. And that's the only time, but the
which creates suspense about this story, actually.
Yeah, I know. So that's a cool thing. I was like, let's go. Everybody's going to get to come see. I'm probably going to play pretty well. This is a really big opportunity. I was like, I can win the MAC championship. This is my home course. I was like, I can tell every guy on my team each little nook and cranny about this course, like the little shots that you may not, and we had a really big upper hand. I was like, let's go. And we were about to leave. We were like 3 days from leaving for the MAC championship. I was like ready to go, and me and Charity, which we were dating at that time, we were like, let's go on a date before you go down there. Let's just like go and have a nice dinner and before you go. And I was like, okay, cool. So we went to Texas Roadhouse and went there. Great time. Ate a burger. Charity went back to her like dorm room. She was in James Hall as well, but I went to my dorm, and I can remember like it was like 10 p.m. and I was like, man, my stomach's kind of hurting. I got like a fever, and I just started everything came out of me, and it just wasn't good. And so I remember. I texted her. I was like, "Hey," I know it's. I didn't even know she was awake because she was on the third floor, and I was on the first floor. And so, like, me and Charity would like always like in the middle of the day would just be like, "Hey, meet me outside. I'll meet you for lunch." Just whatever. Because she lived with a volleyballer, I lived with a golfer, and I was like, I texted her. I was like, "Hey, do you mind like coming down real quick and like checking on me? Like I gotta like I'm for some something's not right." And I keep throwing up. And she was down there for like 3 hours, just like got me like a cool rag. So she was doing super awesome. But I was like, if I throw up one more time, I'm going to the ER because I was holding off. I was like, I gotta go to the MAC championship. Like I can't go. And
you guys were leaving tomorrow?
2 days.
2 days, yeah.
2 days, yeah. And I was like, I can't go to the ER. Like I don't want to. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we got to go to the ER. So I hopped in the car. She came with me and drove her there. It was like 5 a.m. And I got there, gave me an IV, nausea medicine, all that stuff. And I was like, okay, I got to like, come on, hopefully we can get out of here quick. And I was finally feeling better a little bit. But I'd lost like 25 pounds. It was crazy.
Wow.
So much, because all of it came out of me. Everything. I threw it, it was like 30-something times. Yeah, 25 pounds might be an exaggeration. It might have been like 15, but like still, I knew I'd lost a lot of weight. I was very frail.
Yeah, you're
and
weak.
My face was all red and spotted because all the blood vessels had popped from throwing up. It was crazy, and so we had practice the next day.
That's some serious food poisoning.
It was bad. Yeah, we had practice the next day, and
so that's what it ended up being, food poisoning.
Yeah, it was food poisoning. I don't think it was the meat either.
No,
it
was
the
assuming,
lettuce.
I guess. Huh?
Yeah, I haven't been to Texas Roadhouse again, by the way.
Well, that'll
you didn't
do
get
that
that
to
burger.
It'll do that.
I think it was the
medium
lettuce.
rare. Oh, really?
I think it was lettuce because the meat was good.
Yeah.
Lettuce.
Because did Charity have meat?
No, she had like a salad. Yeah, I know.
So she had the lettuce too?
Well, that's
Yeah, I
probably
know. It must have been a
lettuce.
different lettuce.
Yeah, the salad lettuce. And
The salad lettuce.
it's
Yeah, the
different.
romaine, and you had like a
head of lettuce.
Yeah, you know what? There was
It could have touched it with raw meat,
there was
and
lettuce. I remember Kroger.
they have a recall. Or
Yeah,
something?
I remember that because we had a
Yeah.
couple heads of lettuce and we threw away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, it's probably happened more than once.
Yeah, I think it actually happens
Yeah.
from time to time. Yeah.
So anyway,
back to you.
So food poisoning, whatever. Had practice the next day, and I remember like picking up my golf bag. We carry a golf bag the whole time. I remember picking up my golf bag,
You
and
really play golf.
Yeah, and I couldn't really like. It was so heavy. It was so heavy, and I was like, "This ain't good. This ain't good."
Yeah,
and I was like, I was like, drinking Pedialytes, like trying to get my strength right, and just ended up not being able to go.
Yeah.
So it was hard though to watch, like my team kind of go and play in that tournament, and I'm rooting them on, but it's it's just that was like the biggest.
Like you didn't even get to make the trip to see your family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to not get to go and play.
Yeah.
But like you stayed here in Athens.
Yeah.
So sorry to bring that back up. That's painful.
Yeah, it was hard. It was definitely like a why God moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was definitely a why
because
God.
you go from thinking, well, this is all falling in place.
Yeah,
for
and
a reason.
and in college golf, like you're trying to make the lineup every week. And from a guy that and we have 10 guys on the team, 5 go. Sometimes 6, and like you're always grinding, qualifying. You're like, man, I got to make this lineup, and so like to have like already a lineup ready to go, like that I knew I was going into. I was like,
so
this is
you didn't have to, it wasn't that you couldn't make it when you were weak. You volunteered. You bowed out.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just I think the food poisoning. It was just like,
it was obvious that
I mean, it's just you can't swing a golf club.
But had it not been for that, you knew you were going.
Yeah. I mean, it's and I think also the fact of it being like my home course, I could help out, and play pretty well.
You could caddy.
Yeah,
exactly.
I doubt they would ask you to
saying.
set something up if they didn't think you were going to go.
No, yeah. So that was definitely like a moment of testing of faith,
right?
Because you're just kind of sitting there like, what is this? Like, what is this? What does this mean? What is this? All of this, And so I can remember like that summer, like it was still like a why God summer. Like I was just grinding. I was like, I'm just gonna work so hard. I'm gonna prove people wrong. I'm gonna do all these things, And you do that, and I come back the next fall, junior year, and I think I played in like one tournament, and I'm like, what is going on? And you're still fighting. What it is it all wraps up to me fighting God's plan. And I think I didn't get true peace until I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna practice hard because God says not to be lazy.
Oh yeah.
I said, I'm gonna keep him at the side of everything, and I said, whatever he wants to put in my hands, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
The best way to glorify him is to give your absolute best.
Exactly.
And everything. To be the champion that you know you need to be. Yeah.
Well, and I think what you were doing God's will because you were bringing him along with you through that hardship. Even the good times you were bringing with you when you thought the times you thought were good times and weren't good times. That's a heartbreaking situation. But you wouldn't have got to the point that you are now. Without bringing him along.
And I mean, I love also like one of the sayings I like is it's not a testimony if you haven't been tested.
It's true.
So
that's a great line.
Yeah, it's been tested. So I mean, that's kind of what Charity told me. She's like, look, I mean, it helps you, for people who have went through stuff like that and way worse than that. I mean, it helps them understand like, hey, there's someone else out there that has done the same thing. And now I'm sitting here senior year. It feels like it's been going by in like 30 minutes, and then have to keep on trusting, like whatever God wants for after college during the senior year or whatever, just understand it's not so much about, glorifying myself. I was reading about in John 3 with my golf team last week is, like I decrease, he increases. And I think that's super good.
It is.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, you just brought it up, and so I want to ask about it. Did you ever dream, like you said you were reading John 3 with your golf team?
Yeah.
Your team.
Yeah.
Your golf team.
Yeah.
Right? Not a couple of teammates.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, so tell us, like, you recently
so
invited your team.
Yeah, so me and Charity got married this past June. It was amazing. It was great. That's a whole other story for another time. It worked out. God literally worked that out. There's no reason that we should have been engaged for 1 month and got married the next. Like, it's just, there's no possible way that happens. People get engaged for a year and still feel like they don't have enough time.
These guys came back from their summer break.
With a ring on our hand.
Hey guys, we're married.
Yeah,
like we knew it. We saw it on the Instagram. And stuff. But you even waited to put anything out there, really?
Yeah. Well, photographers had to get the pictures back. Photographers took longer than our engagement. I'm kidding. They did a good job. But no, we got married, and so we had to get back early because Charity for volleyball, they have to be back June 22nd. In golf, we are an all-year sport. We're fall and spring here in college, but we get summers and winter break off. So you don't have to be back anytime early.
That's cool.
Yeah, you just get on campus when school starts.
Kids get a golf scholarship.
Correct. Anyway, so we had to be early. So I was like, man, I ain't got nothing to do. I was finishing up my internship because they require that for the College of Business. But other than that, I really was just sitting at home. I was practicing, but I had a lot of time to myself because she was gone from 7 to 11, 3 to 6.
Yeah.
So I'd see her a little bit in the day, we're trying to just move into a place, trying to get everything ready, and it was just hectic. And I was like, I just try to really focus down on this Bible. I really want to I just want to delete social media for a little bit, and when I grab my phone, I'm gonna grab the Bible. And I tell you what I did. I grabbed my phone all the time. I was like, I forgot I don't have any social media, and so I.
So you made that like an
well,
anchor
I thought it was gonna be way easier.
Every time I grab my phone, actually I'm gonna read the Bible instead.
Yeah, I had to get the paper Bible though. For me, a Bible app's kind of tough. I
feel
like I'm scrolling.
Yeah. So when you picked up your phone,
I would drop it back down
to where you're I would normally look at TikTok. Oh nope.
Yeah, exactly.
That was Bible your indicator to
that's
it's
a cool
time
thing.
to study.
Because I would grab it, swipe to where Instagram used to be, and I'm like, I have Instagram. Throw it down. So I was like, Charity, I'm just gonna really get deep in this and see what God says. And I prayed. I said, I just pray for something that seems unimaginable. Which, by the way, if you pray for that, watch out. And pretty much, I just kept thinking of my golf team. I just kept thinking of these guys. I want them to experience what I've experienced, and it doesn't have anything to do with winning a golf tournament. That's the thing. It has nothing to do with being better at golf. This has to do with we have a lot of seniors on the team. We're an older team. We have seniors and juniors. That's it. And so I was like, man, these guys are going. I want them to go away with something that is valuable and eternal, not temporary. And I just shot it. It was 2 weeks from there. I just from deleting everything, I was like, man, I gotta send a text. And so I just texted them all, and I was like, guys, I want to start a Bible study. I'm college driven by faith, and let's see where it goes. And God willing, everybody texted me back and was like, love it. And so every Tuesday.
Had you ever had any conversation with your teammates about, was this out of the blue?
They knew that I'm, AIA.
They knew you were a Christian.
Yeah, they knew that I was kind of big in faith and all that. And they knew that, obviously, I hung out with, some guys, and they always asked about that. But I definitely, would share a verse or something, or Easter, I would say, he is risen.
Yeah.
So. But I would say, it was definitely out of the, because a lot of people, senior, you think of senior year, senior year, last year, let's go. We're going to go crazy, and I was like, all right, guys, let's go crazy with this. And I'm just kidding. But they took it great. They were very open and was like, let's do it. And so every Tuesday night, this was our 6th Bible study. I make some type of dinner, or I buy some type of dinner, and we go, they come over, we eat, and then we pray in. Have a Bible study, and I'm usually make somebody else pray out. But
and it requires some effort for them to get to you as well, because you don't live on campus.
About 4 minutes off campus, 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah. So,
and all 10 guys. You're 10.
Yeah, 10. We have pretty much everybody. So
that's awesome.
So it's really cool.
It is.
it's cool because, I mean, they even come up to me, and talk about their experiences they have that, it's just crazy things that couldn't be anything but God. Yeah. Like I was telling him a story. We had a qualifying, and we were playing some course up in Columbus. This was 2 weeks ago, and I was playing with a guy who's been coming to Bible study and stuff, and he hits the shot pretty wayward over by the houses on this hole, and we're like, okay, let's just go get the ball, and he drives over there. We actually had a cart this day, which was awesome, but and we go over there, and his ball is beside this pool by this house, and in the pool somebody's getting baptized.
I'll be darned.
And I'm like, how is the chance you hit it by that pool? He's
so,
like,
hit it that poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
For one.
Yeah, you don't even hit it like that usually. I mean,
so you walk up and they're in the process? Or
yeah,
what's
dipping her. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, dude, somebody's getting baptized. And I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, I don't even know what to say. And he's just like, I mean, we were like pretty shook up like the next hole. We were like, that's so weird. I mean, there's no reason for that like specific time.
That's very
like
random, man.
He met at that hole.
Yeah.
I'm like, could be anything but God, dude.
With a guy on your team that you had just recently invited to
and he's coming to Bible study.
And you've been asking them the question, how have you seen God?
And one of the
life?
prayers, like I pray in front of them too, is like, hey God, like, show yourself.
Yeah.
Show yourself to them and let them be known like that you're watching over them. And this guy, I mean, he's, there's no other explanation he had. Yeah. It was just,
because you're
there's
also
something else.
You're talking about, I mean, how many Bibles did you take from our church to give to these guys?
10 or 11.
Like, so all of them?
Yeah, all of them. We gave them all out.
Yeah.
Everybody got
so
one.
nobody had a Bible before?
We had a couple guys who had like the
maybe had
Bible app.
Like a King James Version or a Bible.
Yeah, either Bible app or
everybody
the
has the Bible app, I guess.
Yeah, and then like I think there was one guy or two guys who had one, but they didn't bring it. I mean, I gave them that one.
So this is new. This is new to these
new
guys.
Stuff. And even I mean, a lot of stuff's new
and they're
for me.
wanting to be there.
Yeah. I like looking. I mean, like when we reread all the verses and stuff. Like I pick up stuff. Like I'm like, man, that's awesome. And
that's by design. Yeah.
I like my favorite part is when everybody else starts asking questions and I ask questions. What do you guys think about this? That's where you get the most out of it.
Yep.
Is just discipleship and
yes. Somebody once asked
community.
me why I enjoy preaching. And the answer is always, I love what it requires of me.
Yeah.
It requires a lot.
And I think also, I mean, we even had this conversation, all the guys we did, and we were just like, man, like we have not had anything like this for 4 years. This is the closest everybody's felt. This is the most vulnerable everybody's getting. We feel like a team. I mean, we're hanging out all together, eating some, like last night I made barbecue sandwiches. We're eating barbecue sandwiches. Yeah, I know you're going to be the 11th. Yeah, so, I mean, we're just hanging out, having a good time and talking about Jesus. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, it really doesn't. And I mean, I think it's just, just slowly seeing everybody kind of really get into it. Like, we have a group chat. We had one guy send a Bible verse yesterday, and it's just wild. It's just wild.
You would have never expected that.
I mean, it's just, and like to me, I'll just be honest. I mean, that's way more than any golf thing I could ever win.
That's fulfilling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly
a lot more than
and
a
because
match
I can go into any kind of tournament, any kind of qualifying practice. If I don't play another tournament, this year, I can still walk away with saying, you know what, like, change these guys' lives.
Yeah.
And I didn't. It's God.
I thought it was pretty amazing. Yesterday, I was reading an article about the revival in Ohio State's football team.
Yep.
Right, and one of the a journalism student, I think, on campus there was doing a story on it. It was like one of the campus newspapers. And they asked, I don't remember which football player it was. It was one of the ones that got baptized.
Yeah.
And so it was someone with new faith. And they said, what is this going to be? Like, put this in perspective for your experience as an Ohio State Buckeye football player. And he said, this is going to be my most memorable moment as an Ohio State Buckeye.
That's crazy.
And I think about that, right?
Yeah.
Like you play in front of 100,000 people every week, and you have a chance to win a national champion. And he's been it. I mean, he's a junior. I think he's junior or senior. Yeah. And
probably gonna play in the NFL.
And this is going to be the most memorable.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
It is. I told you, man. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like it's not going away. Like this, God's doing.
No,
like you've got you started a Bible study with the Ohio University golf team, and every single member of the team is coming.
Yeah,
I told you right before we came online, Trey, I have a new friend of ours, who's been coming to our church, coming to Athletes in Action. He sat down talked with me about how to start a Bible study. He's talked with these guys about it, the guys that are already doing it, how to start one with his baseball team, with the OU baseball team. And he invited, just shoot a message, see how many respond.
Exactly.
And the very first time he sent a message, 15 guys responded. 12 showed up to the first Tuesday, just after practice, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he got some Bibles. We're giving Bibles away like crazy, it seems like.
Yeah, it is.
And
we are giving away.
Monday night, saw him. No, it was Sunday. I guess it was Sunday at church.
Yeah.
I said, how's it been going? He goes, man, it's just getting better. He said 17 people are coming now. There's 34 guys, 35, I think on it still. Yeah. I think it's good. It hasn't gotten to that 34 man yet.
Yeah.
Rule has it with baseball. Remember how NCAA's changed it where
I think
did they have to cut back down to 34 this year?
Yeah, because I know I've seen a lot of kids on Twitter and stuff say that.
But they can all receive scholarship, right?
Yeah.
So half of his roster.
Crazy.
It's crazy because there has never been anything like that on the Ohio University baseball team for as long as I've been here, ever. I mean, Athletes in Action will tell you, like the one sport, there's only a couple sports that they just never have anybody from.
One of them was
baseball.
One was men's golf.
One of them was golf.
Yeah, they never had a Bible study of men's golf ever.
And it's just. I met with a young lady last week from the field hockey team. I got a field hockey player in my podcast class. Yep. She, as a believer, she introduced me to one of her teammates. We sat down for an hour and chatted about the Lord.
That's awesome.
I mean, it is a true move of God, and this is what revival is. Mm-hmm. I mean, the revival isn't. It's not like a planned thing that churches put up a tent and have music and have church services every night. I mean, that's what we always think about when we think about revival. This is revival. I mean, there's an openness among your generation right now, unlike I've ever seen.
And I think a lot of it is like we were talking about with the guys, is like you have so many things at your hands nowadays to fill yourself up. And like,
and you've tried them all.
Yeah, you try them on, and you find something that may work a little bit, so you do it again, and then it goes away. And you got to fill it up constantly, keep refilling yourself over and over and over. And I just tell them, hey guys, you got something way bigger than your little temporary things that you don't have to keep going for. Just accept it. Accept it, and it's yours. And we were talking about it last night, which is John 5. It was talking about the pool, and this guy is he's crippled and stuff, and he's asking
38 years, he hasn't been able to walk.
Yeah, he can't walk. And I mean, Jesus just comes up and he's like, hey, do you want to be healed? And he's like, he just goes, nobody will carry me in the pool or anything. He's like, stand up, carry your bed. And I asked him, I was like, hey guys, what'd that guy have to do? Like, what works did he have to do to receive Jesus? It's nothing. Wow. And it says in John 6, it goes, Jesus tells him, the only work you have to do is to believe. Yep. I was like, you got one, guys, knock it out. But you got one.
Yeah, that's true.
So. I think it's really uplifting for me because I would say all of my life, the Christian society has spent so much energy fighting things.
Yeah.
Yes. We would
take a stand against something.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I think there's a lot of negative. There's a lot of negative publicity. There's a lot of negative reputation that comes out of that. And now we're seeing these groups of people that are doing something that changes things.
Yeah,
If you want to change the world, if you want to change the country, if you want to change the way politics work, you're a Christian, this is how you do it. You gather with Christians and you regain that Christian society. I saw something the other day about how we need to reincorporate religion back in, and the word religion was used, back into politics. Well, you're never going to do that.
Right.
Politics is made up of people from society. So society has to have that, and that faith-driven purpose given to them for it to show up in other aspects of life. Yeah. So it's really refreshing to know that this type of thing's going on.
Speaking of gathering, just last Sunday night, 2 Sundays, a week ago Sunday.
Yeah, we had
there was a gathering of probably over 100 students over here.
Yeah,
at one point, huge. More. Couple hundred probably. And the storm came and it didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't skip a beat. In fact, the energy level just went even higher. It was just
up.
people worshiping Jesus on the Scripps Hall Amphitheater.
People get baptized. Two guys.
Yeah.
Two guys got baptized.
Yeah. And contrast that with, like I think this week was a couple of days ago, there was some sister Sally, or I don't know what, Cindy, I think. You remember Brother Jed used to come out here and preach on the college green?
Yeah, I think I know.
Well, you call it preach. He's preaching his own gospel, basically, gospel of hate, right? Like
he had the microphone.
Yeah. We're against everything. Well, that's his wife.
Oh, okay.
Smock, whatever the last name is. But she was out here. And there was this big gathering on the green, just right across the street here. And I saw like OUPD. I'm like, well, there's a protest. Usually it's just a protest, right? So I walked in here and asked my student ambassadors, like, well, you guys have any idea what's going on out there? And they said, oh, it's Sister Cindy, I think is her name. She's slut shaming. I said, what? Say it again. She's slut shaming. That's her thing. She's famous for that on TikTok. I said, what a thing to be famous for, right?
Yeah, right.
Like So I said, who is this? Well, when they said it's Brother Jed's wife, I went, oh gosh, she's doing this in the name of Christ, right? And it's and so what happens is she's yelling at people, and people are yelling back at her, and that's so I like the Post actually put a story out on, I think there were 2 stories on this lady, and they obviously they mentioned that she's preaching in the name of Christ, her Christian beliefs, whatever, and I don't ever reply to things like I'm not a replier. But I'm looking at this Instagram. It's not a bad story. It really isn't a bad story. Like they covered it exactly what they heard, right? And I said, Lord, I prayed. I said, I want to put a response to this, because in my mind I'm contrasting what happened with this lady from what happened about 8 days ago on the Scripps Hall Amphitheater, which was polar opposite from one another. But one is the true gospel of Christ, and one is just her perspective of
thoughts.
It's deception is what it is. And so I just kind of put that as I just commented under the Instagram post and said, hey, I'm glad that you said she's preaching her beliefs and her God, because that's exactly what it is. It's her gospel. It's not the gospel of Jesus. In fact, if you want to see the gospel of Jesus and what that's about, rewind, ask somebody who was at the gathering at Scripps Hall a couple Sundays ago, because that was truly what Christ is about there. And so
I think we have a very good example of the way Christ would handle that contact. The content of slut shaming, is written for us
in John chapter 8.
There's not a lot of parallels there.
There's a ton of parallels.
Not between Jesus and.
And also, it shows you too.
Like, Cindy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, look, the woman at the well had 5 husbands.
Yeah.
He come over there and helped her out. And what she's preaching is, he hates you. Mm-hmm. There's probably women out there who do have some problems and maybe in that area of things, but Jesus is there.
Yeah,
it's not a hate thing. That's
And I really think that your generation, like this generation of college students, I think everybody's smart enough to see through that. Like I still think like that. Yeah. That's just like entertainment.
It is.
It's
it's a look at me. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I think they really kind of see it that way. Like they're being satire. Entertained. It is. It's satire.
Yeah.
And I think that is, the deception is so much easier. Deception in general is easy to see today. For one, look at our politics system. Like everybody knows when people are lying.
Here he goes. He's gonna start this again. So, we're gonna start losing.
Hey, I actually watched the vice president debate last night.
Did you watch it? I did not.
And since we commented on the Trump-Harris debate and said it was just a waste of time because all it was two junior high kids yelling at each other, last night was refreshing, guys.
Was it? I
kid you not.
They did. I saw a couple back and forth, and it was
discourse. And there were moments where they actually said, "I agree with you." Yeah. I agree, and they actually said, this is what our political system should be. We should be able to talk and recognize where we disagree and where our policies butt heads, and still be able to move forward. Because at the end of the day, like they both said, at the end of the day, if you guys get elected, right? If Governor Wilson, if you get elected, I'm going to tip my hat and do the best I can to keep being the best American I can. Yeah. But the poll. I mean, it's amazing to me the difference in those two vice president nominees. Yeah. And how they behaved.
Well, not as many people were watching it.
Versus, I guess not. I wasn't going to, but I sat down last night. I got home from, where was I? I don't even remember what I was doing.
Probably weights.
Yeah, that's where it was. And I'm like, I'm just going to see what's on here. It's first thing that was on when I turned the TV was that. It was like 9:30, and it sucked me in.
We just disconnected our cable the other day.
Oh.
We're out.
Nice.
Yeah, we're out.
Yep.
No, I still.
You're gonna do streaming networks.
I still watch plenty of pointless TV. Trust me. I was probably watching Heels.
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 Heel. HEELS.
Yeah. You know what a heel is, Coach? No. It's a bad guy in wrestling.
All right.
Yeah. But you're talking
not
about
amateur wrestling.
You're talking about wrestling.
I'm talking about professional wrestling.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Not what they do here on the wrestling team.
No. This Heels is a soap opera about professional wrestling.
Gotcha. Like a reality show.
So would that be a soap opera about a soap opera? I don't know. At any rate.
True, yeah.
Yeah, man, the conversation's been so good today.
It has, Brooks.
It's almost like we to talk about sports as a...
Yeah, you want to bring him another golf time? We're off golf.
Yeah. Well, no, let's ask Brooks the question that we always ask, because it's been over an hour. So let's bring it to a close. It doesn't feel like it's been over an hour, but it has.
Yeah. Well, we always ask people when they come on. We always have. I don't think we've missed it.
Okay.
I think we've
I think all of our guests have gotten the question.
Yeah. What your favorite memory or event or something you went through as a youth athlete?
Got it.
Well, it doesn't have to be youth, but I think we normally go back to youth sports. Yeah.
Yeah, from your childhood all the way to today, and any sport. It doesn't have to be golf even.
Okay. So I got a funny story about golf. This is like the first year I got into golf. So I was 12 or 13 years old, and I have had a buddy that me and him are still super good friends to this day. Like probably my best friend. His name's Riley Luter. So if Riley's listening to this,
he will be.
Yeah, he will. I'll send it to him. So we, like I said, I was in this little town called Columbiana, Alabama, and there was this golf course down the road, and we didn't know anything about golf, but this was a couple weeks after the fundraiser thing, so I was like, all right, I want to start doing golf, and my dad was at football, so I was like, I'm gonna go do it on my own. So he lived right down the road, and so we got our bikes, and God, I can't even tell you where we got the golf clubs at, but we found some golf clubs. I don't know. We probably took it from his dad. I had my cut down ones with the electric tape. I was like, here's the driver we're using. And so we had this golf course down the road called Magnolia Meadows. And it was, oh my goodness. I mean, it was to call it a golf course was an extreme. I mean, it was, I think it was the longest par 4 was like 200 something yards. So it was not made for, not some pro golfer or anything. It was just leisure golf, and it wasn't the best condition or anything, but we went out there every single day. I mean, it was, and I think it was like $5 to walk. Wow. We weren't allowed to drive carts or anything. We were too young. And so there was a point, though, where they started letting us come free. Like, oh, Riley and Brooks, y'all got it. Just go ahead. And it was this old guy.
That's cool.
He was he was this old greenskeeper, and he's like, oh, yeah, you are good always. You're always good. And we went out there one day, and it was real late, and it was like I was like on hole 8, and I missed a putt, and I kind of did one of these like air swings, like I missed, like I was like, man, I missed
know where
that
you're
putt.
going.
And this greenskeeper comes over the hill, and he goes, did you just take a swing in my green and take a chunk out of it? And I was like, no, I swear.
Oh, so you didn't take?
No, I didn't change. I didn't, but he thought I did, and so we go up there, and he's like, I trusted you boys out here, I always let you guys out here for free, and and never again, y'all are gonna pay that $5.
Oh man!
And I remember like the next week, we took a week off. We were scared.
Your frustration,
old man, whatever his name was, he got real scared of it. We were like, maybe golf's not the thing. Let's go get into something else. Yeah. And so, but me and Riley,
horse roping.
Yeah, exactly, horse roping. So another. It was the day. I think they were closed that day or something. Riley went out there and was going to fish in one of their ponds. And that old guy came up, and he took that fishing rod and said, he just snaps and he's like, "You want to come get this ride back? You got to come with your parents." And, oh yeah, Riley, he never played that course again with me. He's like, "I ain't going back." And I mean, a couple years later, now it's a cow pasture. Yeah, they just sold it to somebody. They got horses and cows on it, but it was fun while it lasted. So that's probably my favorite memory was.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, me and Riley we played it every day. I mean, we got good at it out there.
Yeah,
but.
That's cool.
You do everything enough, you get okay at it.
It probably wasn't the easiest. Makes County golf course is kind of like
it was kind of tricky. I mean, it was definitely had to have.
Oh yeah, those courses that you can't really call a golf course are the hardest ones to play.
It was. I mean,
right.
Everything was overgrown and
right.
Which
hazards that shouldn't be hazards.
You have different kinds of tilts. And all the greens. You got leaves over here. And
Riley didn't fall in the golf path though. He stayed in Columbiana for the longest, like until he graduated, and then he was a basketball manager at Jacksonville State.
Oh, cool!
So he's a good guy.
Still in sports.
Oh
so,
yeah. He's an engineering major though.
You know what's cool about the answer, like the stories that we hear when we ask that question?
Yeah,
is you remain consistent, and that is the answers always revolve around some kind of relationship that was built playing the sport.
For sure.
Like you didn't give us any stats. You don't know what your score was. There was no trophy involved. There was no. It was you and Riley.
Yeah, me and him were just trying to make contact with the ball. Yeah, exactly. Getting in trouble and thankfully that guy didn't have our parents' number. We were so scared and stuff. We took off on our bikes, down the road. And
I think everybody has a funny golf course story though.
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's tons. I have a lot more.
My brother and Dodger Vaughn and Jeremy Hartson, they had a golf cart over at Mason one time that the brake didn't work.
Oh my goodness!
And so they had every time they stopped, they had to wedge it in something. And there's a par 3 where you drive over and you tee off over a pond and you have to drive back over to the green. And there wasn't really a place to wedge it, so I just like, wow, this is kind of level right here. So they stopped it, and I'd already, I think it was Dodger and I were playing together, and my brother and Jeremy were playing together, and so we'd already hit. We drove over, and so those guys, as we're driving over there, they hit theirs. So Dodger and I park, and we're getting out of our cart, and we hear this, bang!
Oh my!
And then you hear, oh no! They turned around. Their cart was over the hill.
Flying down the hill.
It was down in the woods. It was, that thing
was clubs and everything.
It was sitting up like
in a tree,
up against a tree. Clubs everywhere, tees, balls scattered out everywhere. And and like the back end of that thing, like where you put your bag, the back end of that thing was dented like this. Jeremy tried to drive it back to the clubhouse and leave it. And every golf course has an old guy.
Oh yeah.
The old groundskeeper came running out and he said the same thing. I need your license plate.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious, man.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I don't have.
I got to get Jared on to tell that story.
Yeah.
All my golf stories is just me being miserable,
wrapping your clubs around a tree. And
I never
like
did that.
No, I don't get frustrated on the course.
Oh, I
have a vow.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've told you the first time I went and played golf, I enjoyed it so much. But I'd never played. I was 25 years old,
Yeah.
And I'm like I'm going to enjoy playing this game.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to be really competitive.
Yeah.
Because I know myself.
Well,
so I vowed to never purchase anything for golf.
I think it's time though, Coach.
I've got a good set of clubs now. Everything's been given to me.
The annoying thing is that so my dad, he doesn't play golf, but he would play with his buddies, his coaching buddies.
Yeah.
My dad's got 2 hole-in-ones. I don't have one.
Whoa.
I've never made a hole-in-one.
Rarely does a person have a hole-in-one.
I've witnessed one, which was at Magnolia Meadows.
Really?
Yeah. Par 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was probably one
par 4 or whatever.
160 yards.
It was like 240 yards. Hit a hybrid and just drained it straight in the cup. It was pouring rain. He did like a star.
Now I did.
He did like an angel on the green, like a snow angel.
Yeah, I hit the pin in Myrtle Beach one time. And it was par 3. It was pretty good. It was a decent par 3. Hit it really well. And I'm like, that's going right toward the hole, but it's going to hit and bounce off. Well, it actually, you could see it. Like the pin went ding like that. It hit about 3 feet up, and went down. I'm like, and we're like, I think that went in. That went in. And we walk up there, and it was like 3 inches from the hole. Like it just went straight down and bounced.
Nice birdie.
Yeah, it was my first ever birdie.
There you go.
And
I would have missed that putt.
I was nervous. Trust me, I was nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I've never played. I'm always nervous to play with people.
So
who
usually what
actually
I
play.
do with the football guys is they'll play a 4-man scramble
against you.
Yeah, but
It's a great idea.
I'll tell you what, Curtis. He
Curtis
can,
is
he
good.
can bomb it.
Curtis
he hits
Rourke.
it really far.
Yeah, he's got a good
He's got
driver.
long arms. He just hits it really far. I'm trying to get Parker.
There are several.
Yeah.
There are several holes here at OU that he could probably drive the green.
Yeah,
or
me and
over
him.
the
It
green.
was he would drive it, and I would drive it right after him, and I was just like, it's amazed. I was like, man, the way it's just kind of crazy. I mean, he's an athlete, so it's just like a lot of those guys, like a lot of the best golfers are like quarterbacks, like in NFL.
That's true.
And they just have that hand eye.
I hear Tom Brady's pretty good.
Yeah.
You should have recruited him, man.
I know.
I mean,
I don't know, man. Have you seen what he's doing this year?
He's playing really
Well,
good.
Curtis
yeah.
is,
He's tearing it up.
he made the right move. I hate to say it, but he made the right move, man.
playing-
I like this. I love to
playing
say it, 'cause
extremely
now.
well.
I mean, Parker's got the opportunity now. And Parker's doing great.
Yeah,
Mac
he is.
Player of the Week this week.
Yep.
Yeah,
Him
he had
and
a real
Coleman
good
are doing
game.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fun living with those guys. I lived
Yeah.
with him and Sam Wiggles,
Yep.
who came here from Ohio
Sam's
State. Now he's on the
NFL.
Rams.
He's
you
in the
know?
NFL. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the Rams now.
Yeah.
It's so funny
he
to me.
got
I was
cut
like,
and brought back, I
Yeah.
believe, right? Yeah.
That's so funny. I was talking to Parker. I was like, man, Sam last year, he's sitting there on the couch eating Doritos, watching Suits. I mean, now he's on the Rams.
Dude,
I'm like, what am I doing?
He's a freak. He's a freak athlete. I heard he played golf really well too.
He is
though.
an extremely well golfer. Shoots low 80s. I was like, dude,
Yeah,
I'm not
that's-
playing a scramble. I mean, he actually shoots some 70 numbers too.
Jeez.
I've heard. I'll have to get back with him.
I don't think I've ever hit
I'm
in the 70s. Oh, for 9?
9.
Yeah, that's not what that's not what we're talking about.
Those golf jokes.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Oh, cool. Let's do this. Let's take it out.
Wrapping it
right,
up. We're
wrap
going
it
to
up.
have you back, Brooks.
Oh, no
I think
doubt.
there's more
Good stuff. Talk to you
conversation to
forever.
have, man.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
So we know you're free now on Wednesdays.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
We got some new podcast partner.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
You got 3 of them here.
absolutely.
Drop in anytime.
For sure.
Seriously.
Got it.
Yeah. Because what you brought today was, I mean, for people who listen to us that are athletes, coaches, parents, I mean, students. I mean, life doesn't always go the way you think it's going to go, right? But there's always a greater purpose, and and for people who are wondering about just life in general, where they are, you gave us the answer today.
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah. Good stuff. All right.